Welcome to BakaBites. My name is Magically Average. That over there is Frankfurter, and you are now sitting in your Econ 100 class. Welcome, students. Open up your textbooks to page 392 to Why Tariffs Suck and are bad and don't help anything ever.
Sorry, you said we were in class, so I fell asleep.
Yeah,
a little bit
and
right
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, this episode, we're not going to bore you, hopefully. There's going to be pretty pictures on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, so you can pay attention to those. Thanks to Anime News Network, where the article we'll be sharing that I'll bring up now. But yes, we're talking about tariffs, and I hate doing episodes like these. It drives me insane. But the problem is that it's affecting us as fans of anime and manga and media outside of the United States. As it's probably you're well aware now, both myself and Frankfurter are based in the United States. Our counterpart, Drutendo 64, is based in Canada. So apparently we're at odds now with him, because according to what our glorious leader said, the orange man in office, the Pope. Yeah, the Pope. Did you see that? I saw an article that said that he AI generated himself as in Pope clothes and posted it.
No, that's why. Okay. That's why I fucking brought it up.
I'm glad you saw that. I was okay. Good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Anyway, we could talk about a lot of stuff for way too long, but we bring this up because there was a announcement earlier today that from President Trump and the Oval Office, coming out of the Department of Commerce and U.S. Trade, that they are going to start the process of imposing a, quote, 100% tariff on movies coming into the United States that are produced on, or in, excuse me, and I'm not mistranslating, this is what it says in his post, that are produced in foreign lands. It's the most ancient way of describing things, but whatever.
So no more remaking The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Can't do that anymore.
Nope.
Fucking because it would have been made in New Zealand.
We're gonna go through the article first, just kind of speed run through it, and then we'll talk about all of the ramification afterwards, because there's a lot to it, and there is, I guess, like, there's a positive, there's not even a positive, I shouldn't say. There's like a gleaming piece of hope through it all, that like one portion of the media won't get ruined, but we're just going to blast through this to start. The inflated orange juice Kool-Aid man in the office said that it's a way to counter what he has described as being a concerted effort by other nations to draw the production of movies away from the United States, adding that the effort is of a national security threat to the United States, which I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me how it's a national security threat, but whatever. It goes on to say, the article from Anime News Network, written by Rafael Antonio Pineda, thank you, Rafael, goes on to say that it's not clear how it's going to affect some of the Japanese media in particular. And obviously we're bringing this up being that we are avid watchers, enjoyers, procurers of anime and manga, that it's not certain how this is going to affect those mediums right now. Obviously, most every anime that's produced comes out of Japan. It's based around a Japanese studio. At times, they do work with studios in China or South Korea to produce it, to animate it, to edit it, to provide voices, but in terms of the actual production, a majority of it is done through Japanese studios. And then obviously brought to the United States via streaming services like Crunchyroll, High Dive, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, so on and so forth. It is, here's your gleaming pieces of hope through this all, by the way. First one is that apparently, and this was on the test, so be sure to study this for your Econ 100 test. There is a moratorium. Big word, I know, shocking. Look it up if you don't know it. Basically, it's it's a ceasefire, so to speak, on doing
Oh,
something.
so I don't have to look it up. Thank you.
A lot of times we refer to moratoriums in the terms of like fishing, whaling, hunting. You know, there's a moratorium to say like it's a break period, a breath to not have something happen. So in the ministerial conference of the World Trade Organization had a moratorium on tariffs for electronic transmissions, aka digital goods, until its next conference in March of 2026, meaning that hopefully the tariffs won't be impacting any of the goods that are purchased or traded digitally, like your online manga or video games or online media like subscription-based services, i.e. Crunchyroll, High Dive, yada yada. So like
Yeah.
one sliver of hope, an even bigger one, thankfully. And this is as of today when we're recording this. So Monday, May 5th. This could easily change tomorrow, depending on how hard he shits on his golden toilet.
Or if he
Currently,
got a bad night's sleep.
yeah, from doom scrolling on X or whatever his other social media
Posting
platform
his
is.
120th photo of him as a pope
He
or a buff man.
Quick
Who
side
knows?
tangent. Did you know that he has his own social media site called Truth Social?
Yep.
Okay. Didn't
Yeah,
know
and did
that.
you know that when it first started up, like when he wasn't president, he couldn't pay the bills and it nearly shut down?
Doesn't surprise me. GoDaddy's knocking on his door like, yo, pay your fucking URL bills, bro. I'm sorry.
Amongst other things,
I don't
is
talk
just
with
stupid. But
tariffs.
anyways,
Anyway, the last bit of hope is that it was announced on April 2nd, after the original tariffs were announced, that there's going to be products that are exempt from these additional tariffs. And that list includes printed books, brochures, leaflets, and similar printed matter, presumably meaning that manga and comics physically printed in Asia would be exempt from the additional tariffs. So
so
obviously
the only
anything printed in Japan or South Korea or China, so manga and manhwas, should be exempt. But that's if they're printed in Japan or China or
yes,
Korea, South Korea.
which for the United States, they're not.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of research into this as well as just looking at the books, which for fuck's sake, like why can't you just put in your books where you fucking printed it?
Most
It
of the time
makes
they
no sense.
most of the time they put it on the front cover. I know I have a book around here
Sometimes.
somewhere.
But long story short, for the United States, usually our books are printed in either the United States, which sure, good.
Yeah.
Um, Italy, which I find interesting. Um,
Hmm.
Italy is another location, and then primarily, which I have a feeling the only reason I bring this up, or really wanted to talk about the books as well, is Canada. And Canada is a major source, I believe, for printing manga in the United States. And because Canada we are feuding with Canada now. I have a feeling this
Well,
gonna happen any
well,
given day.
let's give Canada the benefit of the doubt and say that they're feuding with us for obvious and rightful
Oh,
reasons.
sorry. We are feuding for a one-sided battle right now.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are making problems for no given reason, and
yeah.
I have a feeling any given day we could see the price of these books go up. Which I think it was 2 years. No, it was last January. It was the first time Viz Media increased the price of their books by like $2.
Yeah.
I think it was $2 for the regular like Shonen Jump Sunday series, and then I think it was $1 or $3, one of the two. I can't remember. For the Viz Signature, which are the bigger books.
Mhm.
But it was the first time that Viz has had to actually increase their prices since starting publishing
Yeah.
in the United States.
And that's at the time it was fine, right? Because I was
That was inflation due to the pandemic, and it's like they put it off for so long, and now it's like, okay,
yeah,
I get it.
there
It's
was a
fine.
myriad of factors that went in like with the shortages coming into the during COVID and the pandemic period, and then coming out of it having such a high demand, and yeah, so that was understandable. But having effectively a forced price increase due to tariffs, if they are imposed, if they do go through, if it does result in if the exemption list is brought out and gone away with, then that's not the fault of Viz or Dark Horse or Kodansha or any of the publishers for that matter. Any of the
Yep.
ones at least that are printing outside the U.S. But yeah, and then in case you're living under a rock and you don't know what we're talking about, obviously everything this is discussions based around are the tariffs that President Trump announced a while back now that he's put a halt on, but then kind of soft started for some countries like China, and then kind of also put a half halt on to a degree. But effectively, there's been tariffs that have been imposed on certain countries. A lot of the Asian countries, obviously the ones that we care about the most in terms of those that are producing anime and manga, like Japan, China, and South Korea, have tariffs anywhere from 46 to 49%, all the way up to 125%. Up to 145%. That one
Yep.
being China, and then they've reciprocated in kind and for very obvious reasons for 125% tariff on the United States. So yeah, it's not looking great.
No.
The
To the
other
point where I saw a really comical tweet that said VTubers are about to stage their own January 6th because
oh
the
god,
tariff cost for VTuber merch was more than the actual merch itself.
yeah, I was just
And
gonna
it's
mention that.
just like, woof.
I was just going to mention that out of everything I've been talking about, the one thing, if you've been listening, you probably might not have realized is that the tariffs do, in fact, affect toys, and that includes figures. So plushies, anime figures, all of that. Like I don't have the heart to tell her right now because I fear that this is the reason why I haven't received an update. But I had pre-ordered my wife a Hani Nizuka Senpai figure from a company that does these really amazing custom resin figures, and they do a lot of pre-order sales, and they're eventually going to do the whole Around High School Host Club cast. But Hani Nizuka Senpai is her favorite, one of her favorites, I should say, and it's one of the first ones that was released. And I pre-ordered this all the way back at Thanksgiving,
God dang.
and I've received zero updates.
Did it have a release date on it?
It had a
Or
release
window?
window. It had a window. It had a pre-order window that's been closed for quite some time, and they have said that they're going to provide an update. But I am fearful because she brought it up about a week or so ago. She's like, "Hey, what about that figure?" And I was like, "Oh my god, you're right. I did order you a figure, didn't I? Ooh, let's check." Nothing. And there's a
Yeah, when
number of figures they put on their site that are still in pre-order that should have closed for a while that are just kind of like there in limbo, in this like weird state of I exist, but only in your imagination. But I could, or maybe I won't. Like I just
Yeah, no, like
so frustrating.
when we did the con up by you last year, which I am completely blanking on the actual con itself. Very sorry.
In Detroit,
Yeah,
Yumacon.
thank you.
Shout outs to
Uh
Yumacon in Detroit.
yes, when we did that con that weekend, I could not find a figure in person for something I've been searching for, and then saw that it was pre-orderable on Crunchyroll because they're doing another run of the figure, and
Mm-hmm.
it comes out in June theoretically, and I'm like, is my price
Ooh.
about to go up on this thing, or am I
So
good?
so yeah. All right, we're gonna finish the last of the article because it is
Yeah,
very very important to point out. Because I don't want to keep talking about this buffoon. Uh, to summarize it all, the U.S. administration has noted that it can. Why they have to announce this, I don't know. They can raise tariffs or lower them depending on how you respond. You better be nice. You gonna send us flowers? I didn't get a Valentine's card. Uh yeah, I don't know. The article finishes off by saying that the current situation on the US's new protectionist tariff policy is extremely fluid and volatile and has seen changes and clarifications almost every day. Obviously, it can kind of address the tone of the author of the article, which we wholeheartedly will reciprocate and probably vocalize ourselves, in that it is frustrating that these tariffs not only exist, but keep doing this weird like magic trick of like Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Will I, won't I? And it's like either do it or don't. You can't stand on the line. You can't keep going back and forth. Either tell us you're fucking us over, or tell us that you bluffed it the whole time and this was all for show. Because either way, we're going to hate you. Okay?
But Tyler, how can he manipulate the market and have the stock market go down so he can buy
God.
more things and then have the stock market go back up? What about that conspiracy theory?
Oh, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory at all, my friend. And if you were in your poli-sci class,
Econ
we'd be
101?
no, that's poli-sci, sir. That's your next class.
Apparently to Trump it's Econ 101.
Yeah, well, everything to Trump is Econ 101, as long as there's math involved and money. Just
Math
it's
and money.
yeah, math and money. That's all I care about. You see my tariff equation? It was perfect. Chat GPT had nothing to do with it.
Just as good as my golf swing.
Yeah. Just it's really
Yeah.
aggravating as a consumer, and whether or not you enjoy capitalism or not, or we all have thoughts about it, and I sure as shit don't
Yep.
love it. But hey, guess what? I will reap what I can sow from it, and that is primarily through the production of goods that I can purchase with money that I earn by being a cog in the capitalist society. And I like having access to those goods at a reasonable price, even if they're made all across the world. But if I lose access to that, or am charged a bajillion dollars in what they're going to qualify as shipping and transfer fees, that's going to suck donkey doo-doo to the highest heavens. Like, it... I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, just mainly because I'm looking at everything in my room and realizing you're going to go up in price, and you're going to go up in price, and your shit going to go up in price. Like, all right, I always find an episode to talk about this. It's the perfect time. In case you don't know, hi, I'm Magically Average. Oh, it's not JoJo's, although I do love me JoJo's.
Yes, you do.
Hi, I'm Magically Average, and I have an addiction to cardboard, specifically trading cardboard. The game I am playing the most is a game that was developed and created in New Zealand. A lot of their printing is done either in Japan or Belgium. Those are the two places that they print their cards. And you can tell where they're printed. One, very plainly, it says it on the bottom of the box. But two, it's also based on how the cards are packaged. If they're packaged in Belgium, it's packaged in paper. If they're packaged in Japan, they're packaged in the plastic, like your traditional, like plastic outer wrapping for each pack of cards. Okay?
Yes.
By all accounts, all of those boxes of cards that I buy, that I'm currently looking at, are now just screaming, "You idiot. I'm now going up 100 and some odd percent, most likely, or some ungodly price," because shocker to no one, and I'm not going to go into deep detail about this, even if the tariff is 30%, your price of good is not going to go up 30% alone. Okay? It's what's called a tiered pricing scale. So if tariffs increase by 30%, that means that the labor would then have to increase by a nominal amount to account for the tariff. That means that the goods that they're purchased to make your product are going to increase by a nominal percentage. That means that the actual production is going to increase by a nominal, so on and so forth. So that by the time it gets to you, the end consumer, it's gone up well over that original 30% tariff that you believe you're going to be paying in excess of. So, yeah, math and econ, money.
But Tyler, what will I do when they move the production to the United States? As I read off of an envelope that is probably about my house taxes.
Great question. Not a government implant in this weird rally I'm hosting, I guess, in my own home. That's a great question. And the answer is the production won't come to the United States. Because you know why? Our production costs here are already too high. Even before the tariffs. Yes, outsourcing is not a bad thing, people. It's not. Like, welcome to Econ 100. It is just really annoying to look at it all and realize, like, wow, this might become a completely financially unreasonable hobby to continue. And I know most every single boomer adult will say, that's why you have to invest your money in more proper things, son, like houses and gold. Go west, my boy. Start digging.
But don't put it into the banks. You gotta hide it. So
Yeah,
then
hide
you
it
can
under your
find other
beds.
people's golds.
But do put it in the banks if you own the bank.
Oh,
Or you can manipulate the market. Or you work in the federal trade industry.
can we just make it easier? Could we just all just start betting on Masume Pretty Derby and
No, please.
just call it a day?
I'm currently going to be emailing my state representative, which it is legal to sports bet in Michigan. So thank
It is
you,
not in
Michigan. I will be emailing my representatives and or the presidents of DraftKings, FanDuel, and other sports betting apps to say hi, hey, hello, yes. I know you're allowed to bet
Magically
on
average
most
here.
magically average here. If you don't know me, good. You don't listen to my podcast. Anyway, I know that you want to bet on almost everything. That's what everyone dreams of. Get this, horse betting. I know you already do it, but horse betting on girls that are horses, not girl horses, girls that are horses. Yes. And then I unfurl my creepy poster of Umasume, the Pretty Derby, and be like, you've got that right, folks. These girls are horses, and goddamn they can run fast.
And one more stipulation, they're all digital.
Yes. This is all 2D. Find your new waifu in the form of a Pretty Derby horse. Just, it has better animation than most new shonen. I know you don't understand that, but this is meaningful to those who do.
This sentence makes no apparent sense to you, but by golly,
It speaks
it'll hit with
volumes to the
kid.
ones that understand. Just believe in me. Yeah.
No, this whole situation's stupid. Like it really, I get.
It's not that it's stupid. It's just it's frustrating, right? Because again, like it's the rug pull, but then they put you back softly down on the couch, and then they rip the couch away from you, and then they put you down softly on a bed, and it's like, dude, either let me fall and be in pain, or leave me alone. Like, one or the other. You can't do this stupid bullshit of like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm too scared. No, never mind. Everyone got mad, but I still can. I swear to Christ, I'm gonna do it. But I don't know. Maybe I won't. Like, just you can't do that. Because it's already screwed over. There's what happened recently that I had like a little tear. Oh, I'm not gonna go into details because it's confidential, but like in my personal work, I was working on a project, and I had someone come up to me and be like, hey, tariffs are a thing? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, cool, we got to account for that. And I'm like, okay, that news to me. Based on where we're at in the industry, it shouldn't be a factor, but it is. It affects everyone. So it's just like, and it's not even known if it's gonna happen yet. And it's just like everyone's panicking, and it's everyone's freaking out, and rightfully so. And it's so frustrating. And again, I know people are gonna listen to this and be like, one, shut up about politics, and I'm gonna say, fine.
They're just straight up not going to listen. They're going to be like, they're talking about politics. Leave politics out of my anime. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm blind and ignorant to what's going on
I,
around me.
I don't want to watch anime and think about politics. Turns around, puts on Attack on Titan. Turns around and starts watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood for the 10th time. Yeah, folks, go back and watch your favorite anime. Joke's on you. Most of them are really political.
What?
Yeah, I know. But like even just general things, like, because going back to the article about films produced, in foreign lands, as the man said. How does this, general open question to answer, not rhetorical? How's this going to affect Ghibli Fest? It's like the films are owned by Disney.
But Disney doesn't have the IP over it anymore.
Oh, that's right.
They haven't had it for a while. It's been G-Kids.
G-Kids, yeah, that's right. Well, and G-Kids is a Japanese company, I believe, right? Is it
I
not?
don't think so. I think it's just the American branch, like the North American branch.
Oh,
Is an
maybe you're
American
right.
independent film and television distributor based in New York City.
Okay. Well, but here's the thing. The films were in fact produced in foreign lands. They were remastered and they're distributed through a company here, but like how are they going to classify what is and is not has not been produced in a foreign
Right.
land, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the whole frustrating part about it all cuz then it goes to like if there's just again we're right hypothesizing, we're talking in hyperbole at times because it's such an unknown landscape right now because depending on how I eat tomorrow and if I get gas, I might do the tariffs, I might not. I don't know. Like that's how we're operating. So just bear with me for a second while I give you this kind of layout. All right. The Demon Slayer movie is set to air in what, September of this year? The first one of the three? Infinity Castle, right? All
Yes.
right.
Yeah, later this year.
Let's say tomorrow he has a really awesome bowel movement and he goes, "We're pushing forward with the tariffs. Here's how the plan is." Right? And they basically just spell out anything that's produced. So we're not talking about talking about distributions. We're not talking about like what studio actually did it. We're saying strictly produced in a foreign land is going to be 100% tariff. Is going to have 100% tariff on it if it's brought over to the United States, right? Because that's the whole stipulation, right? If it's brought into the United States, there's 100% tariff. Demon Slayer
Yep.
movie is slated to come out in September. Would you, as a fan, someone who's going to go to the theaters, watch it, is already ready for it, would you be more okay with the movie either A, getting removed from the theaters entirely, and then you're stuck watching it digitally whenever it comes out, probably like 2.5, 3 months later on Crunchyroll, or B, spending we'll say $35 just to get a ticket to go see it. Because again, spoiler alert, the 100% is not just going to be a pure 100%. It's going to be eaten by the fucking distributors here in the United States, and then eaten more by the theaters in the United States, and then eaten the most by you at the very end.
Yep.
So what would you rather have? Full cancellation, say, you know what, F it, we're pulling out of the US theaters, we're not even going to humor this, or you can watch it. You just got to pay $35, which is effectively paying for like a Blu-ray DVD at this point.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're
Well,
lucky.
for movies, that's about right. But
So,
if it's anything more than a movie, no, you're
yeah.
paying
So
more.
which one? Because I
If
know
I
my
were to
answer.
actually choose, no, I'd still like it really depends. The 35, I feel like theaters would take a loss on it. People wouldn't go in general. Like you
Oh
would
yeah,
have to only have like diehard people go see it.
yeah.
In my opinion, I mean, if it was still available for $35, it would be more selective for me. Like, I would not watch the Demon Slayer movie in theaters. I would go see the Chainsaw Man movie in theaters, but, I would definitely be more selective about it. It would be something akin to, like, I would go to a Ghibli Fest, maybe, probably not because I own the movies myself, I'll just watch them at home.
But
I like, new stuff coming out, though, like, yeah, it would be very selective. Especially and I think that they would get rid of, like, all of the new things that they're doing where they're showing like the first 3 episodes of a TV show in theaters. I think that
I
that would just
just
be done away with, period.
it breaks my heart because I know that's probably a top option, right?
But it's not gonna happen. At that point, they're just like, "We're gonna take too much of a loss.
Yeah, they're just gonna
We're just gonna
stop it
say
and
fuck it."
they're just gonna say stop it entirely, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
in terms of the amount of people that show for an anime film compared to the length of time that it's airing, right? They probably get a pretty good foot like the hell what the word I'm looking for.
Footprint?
Thank you. They probably get a good footprint of viewers that go in, right? In terms of like again, like length of time to viewership. It's probably a pretty substantial number because a lot of times movies air for like what, 3.5 weeks in theaters and then inevitably go away. Anime movies go like what, a week and a half at times, and then they're gone. Sometimes it's like a weekend, depending on what the film is.
Yeah, sometimes it's 3 days.
Yeah, right. But they get a substantial amount of people going in. There's no
Yeah.
way in fuck you're gonna get anywhere near those numbers to warrant if you do a $35 ticket, and then you question, well, does it warrant us even showing it for a week? Hell, even 3 days? Probably not, because you're probably taking a massive loss. So then they're just gonna go, sorry, you weeby freaks, no more anime movies. Or worst case scenario, I didn't even think about this until now, and I just scared myself. You get into this crazy bidding war between all the different theaters on who gets the rights to show them.
Which at the end of the day,
Then the prices
you
of
would
tickets
think
are going to be insane.
yeah, which right now, to be fair, movies or movie theaters that show anime movies are generally in my area AMC or Cinemark. Those are really the only two options for theaters,
Yeah.
which is really dumb considering the fact that I live in the DFW area and we have Alamo Drafthouse, which as of last year owned by Sony, which owns Crunchyroll, which has a lot of the rights to a lot of these things.
Yep.
Minus like G Kids, but it's still to the point. Like, where the fuck is Sony in all this? Why, like, they haven't even started. Would they even try to consider, you know, doing more? But
Yeah.
I digress. It's just, yeah, this whole situation is dumb. I think that if this does come to pass, I think anime movies are going to be severely affected in theaters, which we still don't know what the digital footprint will be because they're still kind of trying to figure out laws for that, which thank God we have another year until then.
Yeah.
Um, but still, it's just one of those things that it's a slippery slope. And I think that people are going to try and find ways around it because it's so broad right now with just being produced.
Yeah.
It just like there's so many things that could be asked about it. Like, is it 50% of it or more produced in other countries is affected? How are you going to do it? Is it just the distributors because it's just a digital file? Like, we work around it with it just being a digital file? Like, we don't know. There's so
Yeah.
many unknowns about this thing because it was announced today that it just we simply don't know. And I think that it kind of just again, as we've been saying all episode, will they, won't they? The whole tariffs has just been will they, won't they? And I really hope they don't. But knowing our fucking country, they will.
It's the fear of the unknown that's the most troubling. And I think that's where it puts us as the consumers and companies alike on this weird, unstable ground of like, hey, we know you're probably going to have to increase prices. And then companies going, hey, you probably know we're going to have to increase prices. And it's just a matter of like, who's willing to bend the most at that point? Because again, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, the people that get hurt the most are the consumers,
Yep.
right? Because like, for certain goods, I'll say, because a lot of companies do have to eat it, and if they're not, necessities, right? If they're luxury goods, as we say in your Econ 100 class on the test, um, you know, anime figures, collectibles, manga, those would be considered luxury goods, right?
Yeah.
And so we could say like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not paying $80 now for a deluxe edition of Berserk from you, Dark Horse, or like, fuck you, Viz, I'm not doing 15 or whatever how many dollars it is for just a regular weekly, individual volume of a shonen series, right?
Yeah.
Like we could say that, but then it's like, how long are they going to last here? When are they going to eventually pull out? When are they eventually just going to stop? And then now you have no access to those goods anymore. Or they're even harder to come by later on, right? It's such an awful, awful place to be in. And it's that navigating the unknown that's always just the most frustrating and the most aggravating and the most unsettling that we're just sort of living in now. and for the foreseeable future until we finally, maybe, eventually, I don't know, get an answer in a straightforward direction on what the hell's going to happen next. But for now, everyone, just get your 6 shooters out. We're at a standoff yet again.
Strap in, strap on. Strap in, strap on. Yeah,
Yes,
strap on.
get your
Strap in,
strap-ons on. You heard Frankfurter.
strap on and strap in and
put your
pull it out.
strap-ons on, yank them out, thrust them around. We're getting ready for
Wave them in the air like they just don't care.
a battle for the ages.
A battle of butt fuckery going on.
Yeah. God, he mentioned the Chainsaw Man movie, and I was just thinking, I'm like, if that thing gets delayed or is like limited to one movie theater, and it's like 10,000 miles away from me, I'm going to be like Eric Andre and just go and shake the fence at the White House.
Let me
in. Let me in. I just need to talk to him and show him all the cool manga.
That's if the VTuber fans
don't get there first.
Don't get there first.
God,
because all of the merch for like the graduations that are happening right now are affected. And yeah, people are
sad.
not happy about that.
I can never pronounce their name right, but Garagura. I was so sad to see that they were graduating. It made my heart break. And then I heard
watch VTubers, but like that was one that I knew, and I was just like, that's heartbreaking.
I heard them sing their final concert, and it shattered me on the inside. But yeah, if there's anyone that we can trust to really overthrow any established government around the world, it's the VTuber fan base.
VTubers, K-pop, furries.
Probably in that order too, yeah. Yeah.
I would say probably K-pop then VTubers, but yes.
I don't know, man. Furries live with a vengeance for a long time.
Furries run the IT infrastructure in this country, okay? Like, we can't have too many of them on a plane at one time.
People talk about, like, the Illuminati and stuff, and, like, the secret society, the lizard people. They walk amongst us, and they go by different names. They're called VTuber fans, K-pop fans, and furries. Okay, those are the real orchestrators of our society. They're the real under society.
They're the real ones.
Yeah,
they are the society.
But no, I will be distraught, and you will likely hear from us when the time comes, if we ever get an answer on whether or not this is going to impact Demon Slayer, the first of the Infinity Castle arc movies, or the Chainsaw Man Riz arc movie in some time. But for now,
there's another movie we're forgetting too. But yeah,
oh, there's a handful. There's a handful, and I'm already blanking on it. But I'm not blanking on
Titan, the final season, the final part, part 3, the mythical, magical dragon of all.
No, before this goes any further and too chaotic, we just want to thank you all for listening and watching this week's episode. Class is now dismissed. Everything that you've learned today.
A bummer. We're sorry.
Yeah. It's breaking news, though, man. It's breaking news. We got to report on it. Everything will be on your test next week. So please make sure to study. Don't come to me after class asking what's on the test.
I'm gonna ask for an extension, please.
All right, you get it. You twisted my arm enough. Next week, though, we will be back with another brand new episode. If you want to keep up with us before then, you can follow us on all of our social media. That includes our TikTok channel, our YouTube and YouTube Shorts channel, as well as our Instagram. You can also bug us on our Discord that you can find on our socials as well, where we have plenty of channels for you to talk about all of your favorite anime, post your anime memes, and any upcoming anime news that you'd like. As we said, we will be back next week for a brand new episode. But until then, take care, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.